Hi, Douglas Simonson here, coming to you from Mexico with something a little different today. Today I'm going to tell you a story about one of my best collectors who decided to give it all back. I got an email about a year ago from one of my best collectors, a guy who has been collecting my art almost since I started making it. Let's call him Armand Buxton. Armand sent me an email that really surprised me. This guy had been collecting art for many, many years, and he had a huge collection, but he was getting older. He was nearing 80, and he was realizing it was time to downsize, and he wanted to move to a smaller place in a warmer climate. But he had this huge collection that he had to deal with, and he didn't know what to do with it. So he thought of me. And he had a proposal for me. He wanted to give me back my art. Armand said that even though he had purchased all the art, he had never felt like he really owned it, more like he was just renting it. And now that he was getting older and needed to downsize, he thought it would be perfect to return it to its creator, me. He said it seemed to him like the perfect solution for what to do with his Simonson art. As you can imagine, I was a little overwhelmed. This was a lot of art that he was going to give back to me, and some of my best pieces. I wasn't sure he was serious, but after some further discussion, I realized, yes, he was serious and he did want to give me back my art. So a plan began to take shape. We decided that I would fly from Mexico to St. Louis, where I would help Armand organize, catalog, package all his Simonson art, and then in a rented car, van, SUV, I would drive it personally from St. Louis to Kansas City, where I would stop for the night and visit my sister, to Lincoln, Nebraska, where I have my U.S. headquarters. This was a big commitment, so I was a little nervous, and I had never even met Armand in person. And I had not ever driven in St. Louis or Kansas City, so I didn't know those places. But I thought it'll be an adventure. And I had a feeling in my gut that this was something I should do, and I've learned to always trust my gut. So I made the reservations, and in mid-November 2023, I flew from Puerto Vallarta to St. Louis. Okay, fast forward to St. Louis Airport. It's midnight. I've just arrived. I'm 3 hours late. I'm standing outside in the cold, shivering with a bunch of other people on the median where we're waiting for the rental car shuttle from Avis. And the other people are chattering amongst themselves about maybe it's not going to come. I heard that the Avis office is already closed, and that all just made me more nervous. Finally, though, we see in the distance approaching the Avis car shuttle. Yay! And it pulls up, and the door opens, and we all get ready to hop on. But the woman who's driving says, "Whoa," she says, "before you get on, I need to tell you, there are no cars." Well, you can imagine our reactions, from mostly stunned silence. And one guy started ranting at the top of his lungs how I made this reservation, and you have to honor it. And that, what do you mean there's no cars and stuff like that? And he was so obnoxious and annoying that the rest of us, not wanting to look like him, all of a sudden got a lot calmer and just decided, okay, what are we going to do? And we all decided to get on the shuttle anyway, because where else were we going to go? What are we going to do? We're all in Strange City. It's after midnight. So we got on the shuttle and went to the Avis office. And by now, the guy who was ranting has calmed down, maybe because the rest of us were so calm. And these two poor girls behind the counter, we could tell pretty fast that they were as much victims of the situation as we were, and there weren't going to be any cars until like 3 or 4 in the morning, and they were stuck, we were stuck. And we all just kind of, without drama, decided, okay, what are we going to do? And we all made plans, and we helped each other, and we all kind of bonded, and it was actually kind of a nice experience. And I decided, okay, I'm not going to get a car until tomorrow. I called Armand, and I hated to wake him up at 1 a.m., but what was I going to do? And he was very nice about it. He came down, he picked me up, and took me back to his apartment. And that was great because I realized, oh, this is okay. He's a nice guy. He's not creepy. And I was even more happy that he had a really comfortable bed in his guest room and I could just crash after almost 22 hours of nonstop stress and travel. So the next morning I woke up feeling much better, and Armand gave me a tour of his rather large apartment and its extensive collections, and I thought this is like a museum, only maybe not that organized. But I'm good at organizing things. So Armand points me to some of the piles that he thinks contain Simonson art, and there are piles and sometimes there are drawers, but I'm going through it all really fast because I'm probably the best person on the planet to go through thousands of artworks and pick out the Simonsons, so I'm moving pretty fast. Except that I keep getting stopped by discovering some treasure that I had forgotten that I had even done or that I never expected to see again. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Vahila. And oh my God, it's at the falls. And oh my God, it's some work that I forgot I ever even did, but I'm so happy to see it again. So it was a lot of work, but it was a really great experience. And it was like I was kind of gathering some of my family back together. After a couple of hours, I finally had all the Simonsons, or at least all that we could find. And then I started organizing them and packaging them for transport. And I was able to do that so quickly and efficiently, I even impressed myself. And I realized, hey, I've been doing this for over 40 years and I'm really good at it. So like in less than an hour, I had everything organized and packaged and ready to go. So now it's mid-afternoon and it's time to go pick up my rental car, hopefully. So Armand gives me a ride to the airport, and as we pull up to the Avis office, my heart sinks because I see this line of people extending out of the door and around the building. So I resign myself to the situation. I trudge up and get in line, and after waiting in line for a little while, and the line moves a little, and I start talking to the people around me, and I look at the desk way inside there, and I think, you know what? I'm an Avis preferred customer. That must mean something. I wonder if I could get out of the line and go up to the desk and maybe just see if I could get, some special treatment. But then I thought I don't want to look like an asshole, so I started talking to the people around me and I said, does anybody here have Avis preferred? And nobody did. But the guy right behind me in line said, you're Avis preferred? You don't have to stand in this line. There is an office right around the corner, an Avis preferred office, and there's no line. So I abandon my place in line and go out the door and look around the corner, and there's an Avis preferred office, and the guy was right. There is no line. I'm very happy. I go in, I get my cart, I get everything taken care of so quickly, and I'm walking out the door of the Avis preferred office with my key in hand, and in walks the guy who had been standing behind me in line. And I looked at him, and he holds up his phone, and he says, I signed up online. Anyway, I got in my car, my Jeep SUV, which turned out to be the perfect size and the perfect vehicle for my purposes, and drove back to Armand's. So Armand helped me load up all the art that I had packed, and pretty soon it was all securely packed and it was time to say goodbye, and I gave him a hug, got in the car, and headed off with my load of treasures back to Nebraska. Driving in the U.S. is something I don't do often anymore since I live in Mexico, but everything came right back to me and I found I was perfectly comfortable driving cross country, and thank God for Google Maps because I'd never been to St. Louis or Kansas City before, but it turned out to be no problem. Everything went really well. It was only when I arrived in Lincoln with all my art and unloaded it and got into my office and I realized what a huge job I had in front of me. I had to catalog hundreds of artworks and reintegrate them into my system. But again, I'm good at that stuff, and I had my assistant Lisa to help me, and we managed to get it done in about a week. There was so much beautiful art that hadn't been seen in a long time and was now available again that I decided to create a special gallery of it on my website. And that gallery is called From a Private Collection. And it shows all the originals that Armand returned to me and that I'm so happy to have back. So that's my story. I'm so grateful to Armand, and I want to thank him for giving me back the art I never expected to see again. I'm so happy to have it all back, and also happy to make it available to my younger collectors and start a whole new chain and a whole new bunch of people who can appreciate these works that maybe never saw them before. So thank you, Armand, and thank you for watching. If you want to see the art that Armand returned to me, most of it is nudes, so that means you'll have to sign up and create an account on my website. And once you're in the members only section, you'll find From a Private Collection as one of the options. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon with another drawing or painting demonstration. Thanks for watching.